Nothing beats a great Aussie pie, and I want to show you that you can make this into a midweek meal for the whole family. This has no bells and whistles. My recipe is very simple, but it's humble and super delicious. Now we're going to start with the sauce. We'll add some olive oil, about 1 to 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to start frying off some onions, so 1 onion, and some carrot. And to speed up the whole process, I've just grated the carrot. If you grate it like this, it will dissolve as it cooks down. So we'll get this going and slowly start to cook that down with a pinch of salt. While that's cooking, just going to finely chop up some celery. So 2 stalks of celery. This is your classic mirepoix. If you don't have celery, don't worry about adding it. This is one of those recipes that gives you a wonderful opportunity to use up old vegetables. So if you've got some capsicum in the fridge, you've got a little zucchini, grate that up, add it at this stage. You're going to inject lots more vegetables into the dish. Now this is a recipe that I've included in my most recent book called Cook Ahead. The book is all about freezer-friendly recipes. So the whole idea about this meat pie is make this sauce, make a big batch. In fact, double my recipe, make 1 pie, and the rest of the meat sauce can be packed, popped into the freezer for another pie on another day. And that also can go in with our onion and carrot, and a good clove of garlic, so a nice big clove, if not 2. And we're just going to cook that down for about 4 to 5 minutes, just to soften all of those vegetables. Looking good, so in with our meat. I'm just using some beef mince here. You could absolutely do this with some lamb mince. Both work quite well. What I'm trying to do though is break it up. I don't want big chunks in here, so nice fine mince, and always a pinch of salt and some freshly cracked pepper. While that's cooking, I'm going to add some rosemary. So 1 stalk of rosemary is plenty. We'll just take off the leaves, and I'll just run my knife through it a few times. Rosemary is one of those hard herbs. It's quite intense in flavour, so you don't want to add too much to it. That can also go in with our mince. And we'll just give that a stir. All right, that's changed colour. So we're going to add some tomato paste. It's not only going to give it a lovely rich colour, but it's also going to help thicken this pie. Speaking of thickening agents, we need to add some flour, so just some plain flour. And whenever you're using flour, you need to cook it off. We don't want that raw flavour. So give that a stir and really incorporate that flour into the meat. Next ingredient, some red wine, a splash of red wine. And you'll notice instantly that's going to thicken because of that flour that we just added. That alcohol actually does cook off in this, leaving us just with the beautiful perfume of the red wine. We can add some Worcestershire sauce. I think a lot of recipes call for just a splash of Worcestershire, but I think it's such an underrated ingredient. I'm going to add a good amount of Worcestershire so I can taste it in this pie. It's such a key ingredient to a classic pie, and it gives a really nice, deep, savoury flavour. It's smelling great. And the last thing I'm going to add is some stock. We want about 1 to 1.5 cups of stock. That's looking good, just so it covers that meat. The lid can go on. We'll turn that down to low, and that's going to cook for about 30 minutes. All right, the meat has cooked. You can see it's thick and rich. It smells fantastic. I'm going to place this into my pie dish. You can see it's the perfect amount, and it's not too watery. That gravy is thick. That's what we're after. Spread that out. Now onto the top of this, some really good quality butter puff pastry, and I've just thawed my pastry out. I'm going to roll it out, and what I like to do is just roll it a little more so it does cover our circular dish just lightly. I don't want to take too much of the puff out of it. Okay, that's looking good. I'm not even going to bother about making it the perfect circle. What I like to do is just take my pastry, fold that in half, and I'll place this over the meat mixture, stretch it out slightly so it completely covers it, and we're going to press down on the pastry, grab a knife, and we're just going to cut around this. And never waste this excess pastry. They make great little snacks for the lunchbox. I just bring it all back together, roll it out again, and you can add some cheese to it, cut them into little fingers and then bake them in the oven. Fantastic. So we'll keep that for later. I'm just going to press on the pie just with my thumb just to form that little print, and it also reinforces that butter pastry so it doesn't unstick as it cooks. We need a little hole in the centre for it to breathe. Okay. Egg yolk and water, just put that together, give that a little mix, and this is going to ensure the top of the pie is going to be really golden brown as it bakes in that hot oven. So just using a pastry brush, just going to lightly brush that. If you have time, I do suggest placing this in the fridge just for that pastry to chill again. You'll get a much better result. But if you don't have time, go straight in the oven, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing. So last little touches, some black sesame seeds over the top, and that's our pie in a jiffy done. That goes into the oven about 25 to 30 minutes. It could even go up to 35 minutes. What we're after is a deep golden colour on the top of this and a hot oven, so about 200 degrees. How good does this pie look? Perfectly golden brown on the top, really puffy, it's just set. Do allow it to cool slightly before you serve it because it's going to be piping hot. And I'm going to cut a nice generous wedge from this. And then grab a big spoon and we'll get a nice generous scoop of that. Oh, look at that. I mean, these are the dishes that I crave in the middle of the week when I don't want fussy food. I want simple, hearty, wholesome food, and this certainly is that. I can smell that Worcestershire sauce in it, I just love it. And what's a meat pie like this without some humble peas? These are just frozen peas that I've warmed up, and if you're a lover of tomato sauce, of course, some tomato sauce on the side, because what's an Aussie pie without that? That there is a delicious, simple dish. You don't have to overthink it, and it's a crowd pleaser. Everyone's gonna like it. Make a big batch of the meat sauce, store half of it in the freezer, and then this is going to be a super quick dish when you want to impress.